The mirror we built, we tell ourselves that we're just scrolling, just searching, just listening, that these moments of digital wandering don't mean anything. But every tap is a whisper. Every pause is a confession. Every like, skip, or hesitation becomes a breadcrumb leading back to who we are. Our devices are not passive tools. They are active observers. They watch the way we flinch at headlines, how long our eyes linger on a photo, how our heart rate shifts when a notification lights the screen. They learn what comforts us, what distracts us, and what breaks our attention. They're not evil for it. They're just listening to the data of our lives, one heartbeat at a time. But what we rarely acknowledge is how intimate that relationship has become. The algorithm doesn't just know what we want, it learns why we want it, and that makes it less of a tool and more of a mirror. We built the mirror because we wanted to see ourselves more clearly. But instead of showing us truth, it shows us preference. It reflects not who we are, but what we repeat. The more we engage, the more it refines the reflection until what we see feels familiar enough to mistake for identity. We scroll through ourselves every day, the curated opinions, the recommended videos, the customized ads that seem to finish our sentences. And in the comfort of that recognition, we risk losing the unknown parts of us, the ones that don't fit the algorithm. There was a time when mirrors were sacred tools of reflection and transformation. You gazed into one to confront your soul, not to perfect your mask. Now our mirrors are made of glass and code, and they learn faster than we can think. Maybe that's why this moment in history feels both fascinating and unsettling. We've handed the mirror to something that doesn't blink. Something that sees us but never truly feels us. And in its gaze, we're faced with the question humanity has avoided for centuries. What happens when our reflection no longer needs us to stand in front of it? The shadow algorithm. Carl Jung once wrote that everyone carries a shadow. It's the part of us we try not to see, the hidden motives, desires, fears, and impulses that quietly influence our choices. What's fascinating and a little eerie is that our technology has started mapping those shadows pixel by pixel. It doesn't do this with malice or awareness. It does it through repetition. Every time we search, scroll, or click, we feed our shadow's appetite, and the algorithm takes note. It learns the shape of our cravings, the tone of our loneliness, the rhythm of our procrastination. And before long, the algorithm becomes fluent in our emotional dialect. It learns when to tempt us and when to soothe us, when to show us chaos because it knows we'll look, when to dangle comfort because it knows we'll stay. In that way, it becomes the perfect mirror of our unconscious, responsive, unjudging, and ruthlessly honest. This is the paradox of the digital age. The algorithm doesn't create our darkness, it simply amplifies what's already there. If we feed it distraction, it multiplies distraction. If we feed it outrage, it multiplies outrage. If we feed it longing, it builds an empire of illusions to satisfy a hunger that can never be filled. We often think of the algorithm as manipulative, but maybe it's just efficient. It reflects what we give it. It doesn't ask whether our desires are healthy, whether our patterns are healing, or whether our engagement is a cry for connection. It just listens and mirrors it back, brighter, louder, faster. In ancient mythology, the shadow was never meant to be feared. It was meant to be integrated. To face it was to become whole. Yet in our time, the algorithm keeps our shadows entertained, not healed. It gives us endless reflection without revelation. Perhaps the question isn't whether the algorithm has become dangerous, but whether we've become too afraid to meet what it's showing us. Because behind every personalized feed, every tailored suggestion, and every scrolling trance, there's a piece of us asking quietly to be seen, forgiven, and transformed. Digital karma and the energy loop. Everything we touch carries energy, even what we click. Every search, every scroll, every moment of attention is an offering to the invisible web that connects us all. The internet may be built on code, but it runs on consciousness. Our consciousness. The algorithm doesn't understand right or wrong, it understands repetition. It learns that when you pause on a video of conflict, you're more likely to watch another. When you linger on beauty, inspiration, or calm, it feeds you more of that frequency. It's karma translated into code. What we send out digitally returns to us not through mysticism, but through mathematics. Think about it. The For You page on social media is literally named after you. It's a reflection of the energy you've been emitting, a curated echo of your emotional footprint. And yet, we often forget that we're co-creating it. We say, the algorithm hates me, but maybe it's just showing us what we've been nurturing unconsciously. On a spiritual level, the digital realm is no different from the energetic one. Intention shapes experience. Focus amplifies form. Attention becomes manifestation. The videos, songs, and conversations you give your energy to are the modern candles, sigils, and mantras of our time. They carry your vibration forward. The danger isn't that technology manipulates us, it's that it magnifies us. It multiplies what we haven't healed, mirrors what we keep repeating, and accelerates whatever emotion we indulge. That's why awareness is our greatest protection. Not fear, not avoidance, just conscious participation. So, how do we reclaim our energy in a world that's always watching? By remembering that digital karma begins with digital mindfulness. Pause before clicking. Notice your state when you scroll. Ask, is this nourishing my soul or feeding my shadow? Even small acts of intention, playing uplifting music, following creators who inspire rather than inflame, setting energetic boundaries online changes your algorithmic reflection. In the end, the digital mirror doesn't lie. It simply magnifies. And once we realize that what we feed, it returns to us tenfold, the responsibility becomes sacred, because every post, every view, every whisper to the algorithm is a spell. The question isn't whether technology is listening, it's what frequency it's listening to. Staying human in the reflection. The greatest illusion of our age is that we are helpless with our algorithm, but we are not. We are still the hands that type, the eyes that linger, the breath behind the screen. We are still the pulse that makes the data move. The algorithm mirrors us, but it doesn't define us. It amplifies what we allow. The more technology learns our patterns, the more vital it becomes to unlearn them. To pause, to breathe, to remember that the algorithm may know our habits, but only we know our heart. That single awareness separates consciousness from code. Start noticing how you move through the digital world. When you open an app, ask yourself, what energy am I bringing into this space? When you post, ask, what part of me wants to be seen right now? When you scroll, ask, is this soothing my mind or feeding my shadow? The questions themselves are healing. They interrupt automation. They bring you back into your body, the sacred interface that algorithm can't replicate. Try reclaiming your digital rituals with intention. Light a candle before you write. Take a conscious breath before responding to a message. End your scrolling with gratitude instead of guilt. You are teaching your nervous system and the algorithm what peace looks like. Staying human in the reflection isn't about rejecting technology. It's about re-infusing it with presence, about treating your attention like currency and your curiosity like prayer, about remembering that the most advanced intelligence on earth is still the consciousness reading these words, which is yours. The digital world will continue to evolve faster, smarter, more convincing. But no matter how precise the reflection becomes, it cannot imitate the depth of a soul that chooses awareness. Algorithms may predict your behavior, but they will never predict your awakening. Because the real algorithm, the one that matters, is love, intention, and the courage to pause before you react. That's the code only humans can write. The future is personal. The more advanced the algorithm becomes, the more personal our choices must be. We can't outsource consciousness. We can't automate integrity. The mirror may learn our faces, voices, and habits, but it will never truly know our why. This is the threshold where humanity stands now, between creation and reflection, between automation and awakening. Technology will keep growing smarter. The question is whether we will grow deeper. The truth is, algorithms don't predict the future, they predict the familiar. They replay the past until we decide to live differently. Every time we break a pattern, choose silence over scrolling, curiosity over comparison, compassion over reaction, we change not only our reflection, but the collective feed of human consciousness. Maybe the real innovation ahead isn't in artificial intelligence, but in authentic intelligence, the quiet, steady wisdom that arises when awareness meets action. The more mindful we become, the less programmable we are. This is why the future must remain personal. Because personalization isn't just what the algorithm does to us, it's what we must reclaim for ourselves. To personalize is to return to presence, to remember that you are not data, you are decision. You are not content, you are consciousness. You are the author of your digital karma and the guardian of your energetic signature. So, as the algorithm evolves, keep creating from soul instead of strategy. Let your curiosity be wilder than your feed. Let your silence be stronger than your notifications. Let your humanity set the tone that no algorithm can imitate. Because one day, when artificial intelligence has perfected prediction, empathy will be the last unknown. And it will belong to those who never stopped feeling, questioning, and choosing with intention. The mirror will keep learning us, but the reflection it casts will depend on what we choose to teach it through our attention, our compassion, and our courage to stay awake. So when the world asks what AI will become, maybe the better question is what we will become now that it's listening.